What's going on, everybody? This is TAETRO, and today we're going to talk about one very important thing: MIDI controllers. Alright, first things first, if you enjoy live electronic music performances, tutorials, and free sound packs, be sure to subscribe to the channel. There's new videos every single week, and the only way to know exactly when those come out or when I'm going to be doing a live stream is to follow me over on Twitter, @NickTAETRO on Twitter. Follow me and then let me know that you came over from the channel so I can say hi. But let's get on with the real video. People are always asking me what kind of controller they need for their home studio, and a lot of them are beginners, so it can be a little bit of a confusing process. So this video is just an easy way for me to get all those questions answered in one shot. People are very confused about one thing: what kind of sounds does this MIDI controller make? Here's what sound a MIDI controller makes. A MIDI controller definitely makes sound, just not like you think. People often are very confused about the difference between a MIDI controller and a synthesizer. MIDI controllers are different from synthesizers, where synthesizers actually generate a sound, where MIDI controllers just control software on your computer. That's why we call it a controller, just like a PlayStation controller or a TV controller. They don't do anything without the actual device that they're connected to. In this case, we need some type of software to control. So all of those sounds that might have come in your very first keyboard when you were a kid, those are all now on the computer. A MIDI controller controls virtual instruments. When someone asks me, what controller should I get? I immediately ask them, what kind of music are you trying to create, or what are you trying to do with this controller? Usually people are trying to decide between three main types of controllers. A controller with keys so that they can play melody, harmony, just like a normal traditional keyboard. Or a controller with pads so that you can play drums. Or something you might be more likely to DJ with. Here's the difference between the three types. With something like a Launchpad, you're basically going to be launching clips, and these controllers are made almost specifically for Ableton. A lot of other DAWs have adapted to use these types of controllers, but they're very Ableton specific, whereas you'll be basically using Ableton Session View with these controllers. These pads can be used to play notes and can be used to play drums. However, most Launchpads, other than the Launchpad Pro, are not velocity sensitive. What does that mean? A controller with velocity sensitive pads will detect how hard you are hitting a pad or a key and translate that into MIDI information so that a sound can be softer or louder, or have a slightly different timbre as you play it softer or harder. Sometimes you'll find controllers that strictly have keys and do not have any kinds of pads. This is for a very specific type of workflow. If you're not going to be doing any percussion, I would recommend one of these, but since most of us are beat makers or involve some kind of drum sound in our music, I would recommend something with both pads and keys, not something with just keys. When you're a beginner, the number one thing you're usually thinking about is a budget. A great way to save some money is to get the mini version of whatever controller you're interested in. So, for example, this is the Launchkey 61. It's huge. I'm not throwing it in my backpack anytime soon, and because it's huge, it was more expensive. However, when I was first starting out, I went with a mini version of this controller, the Launchkey Mini. Basically, it's this thing's little brother. The keys are a lot smaller, but they get the job done, especially if you're on a budget. If you want to put a lot of money into your computer and you want to get one simple, inexpensive controller, I would definitely go for a mini version of some great controllers. Now you might ask, what about all those controllers with the knobs and the faders and all the buttons that you can push? Don't recommend you get one of these for your first controller. Get something that you can make music with first, so something that you can play notes on or play drums on. Then expand to one of these. So here's what I recommend to every single person who messages me asking what controller they should get. I either recommend the Launchkey Mini for people who are super into Ableton and that might also want to launch clips with these pads, but these pads are also velocity sensitive. So, not only can you launch some clips and do some DJ style performance, but you can play drums with all the velocity sensitivity that you need. If you're not super into Ableton and launching clips, I definitely recommend the Akai MPK Mini. This is the Mark 1 version. I highly recommend the Mark 2 version. Overall, these are both great starting controllers that don't break the bank, something that you can throw in a bag and carry around with you everywhere and be making music, and that's what's most important. So, do you agree with my recommendations? This is what I tell everybody. Launch Key Mini or a Cayenne BK Mini, and all the other stuff can come later. All the product links are in the description below if you want to check them out. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more live performances, tutorials, and sound packs. There are new videos every week on this channel, and if you're digging this video, be sure to let me know in the comments below. This has been TAETRO. Have a good one.